So hey guys. The series name is What If Naruto is Yang's father? So let's start the series. Darkness, that was all Naruto Uzumaki saw as he felt himself falling in between the dimensions. He had no idea what he was doing nor could he tell where he was. All he knew was that he was alive and his head was spinning. How long had he been here? What exactly was he doing here? Was he dead? Those were the various questions unanswered within his head. Then it all came back to him. The various memories assaulted his brain like a freight train. The war was at a crux. They had managed to get some form of respite thanks to the help of the 4 revived Hokages and had managed to defeat and reform Obito, the Jubi pushed for the moment. But as the war seemed to finally be over, Madara was revived. Obito, using whatever control he still had left over his body, implanted the chakra of the missing tailed beasts into Naruto and opted to send him away where Madara could not hope to reach. They bid farewell to the hero that had brought everyone together. They bid farewell to the one who had endured like a true shinobi. They bid farewell to the child of prophecy. They bid farewell to the one that had touched their lives and changed it for the better. They bid farewell to Naruto Uzumaki forever. As Naruto prepared to slam the Utama Rasengan into the portal to destabilize it and send himself on a journey through dimensions, he got one last look at all the people he was leaving behind, his sensei, his teammates, his friends. All of them would be sorely missed, but as was usual for him, he would once again sacrifice everything to ensure that all his precious people has a future, derailing Madara's plans for good even if it meant saying goodbye to them forever. He looked on with a sad smile as the darkness overtook him. Darkness was all Naruto Uzumaki knew. He was surrounded by it, no way out, nowhere left to go, and just as suddenly as the darkness engulfed him, a bright calming light engulfed the room and he found himself standing upon the waters of a place oddly similar to his mindscape, yet it lacked any of the defining features such as the fact that Kurama was gone. Instead there was a man floating in the middle of the area, 10 black spheres orbiting below him, a staff in hand. The kimono he wore had 9 magatama on it and a pattern oddly reminiscent of the Rinnegan. The man turned around and much to Naruto's shock, his eyes bore the divine Rinnegan. Why do you have the Rinnegan? Naruto asked in shock. I am the sage that transcends all things. I am Hagoromo. You know me as the sage of 6 paths, Hagoromo said. The sage of the 6 paths? You mean the same one who Pervy Sage and Nagato spoke of. You are the founder of ninjutsu. Naruto said in awe. No, I did not create ninjutsu, I founded ninshu. Ninshu was intended to bring people together. You humans distorted it into the weapon of war, massacre, and mass murder called ninjutsu. Instead of the bijou being used to ensure the balance of power, they are used as weapons and locked away, Hagoromo said angrily. Alright, relax. I understand that the bijou were all mistreated and we humans seem to know nothing but how to kill each other, but what exactly are we doing here? And what is here exactly? Naruto said. We are in your mindscape and you called me here with your selfless spirit and wished to see your friends safe and survive the war by sacrificing yourself. Truly a selfless person. You truly are my descendant, Hagoromo said. Wait, what do you mean descendant? Naruto said. Allow me to tell you a story. My mother, Kagaya, came from a faraway place. She journeyed in search of the chakra fruit, the same one that manifested during the war. By consuming the fruit, she gained the power of chakra and brought peace using her power. She was hailed as a goddess at first, however, as you know, power corrupts, and so she eventually subjugated everyone, becoming revered and feared as both a goddess and a demon. In time, she gave birth to 2 sons, myself and my younger brother Hamura, Hagoromo said, retelling the history of chakra. The 2 of us battled the Jubi in order to atone for our mother's sins. The Jubi went on a rampage in order to try and reclaim its power, but in the end we were able to defeat it and seal it away into the moon. We prevented the same thing that was about to happen in your world. The infinite Tsukuyomi does not only trap a person inside an unbreakable genjutsu but rather it links them to the divine tree, keeping them alive as feed for the caster, granting the caster unimaginable power. Mother possessed the powers of both the Sharingan and the Byakugan, Hagoromo continued. Wow, all mothers are really scary, huh? Naruto commented. Indeed, but we are getting sidetracked. In time, I would have 2 sons, the elder one named Indra and the younger one named Azura. Indra inherited my strong genes and my chakra while Azura did not. I trained the 2 of them but yet Indra showed great promise and was hailed as a prodigy. Azura on the other was a dunce, Hagoromo said as images of two of his sons was shown. Even when your dad is the sage of six paths, I can sort of relate to that I guess, Naruto commented with a sigh. You should be able to understand, Naruto, that one's parentage does not guarantee what they will become, anyway. Indra possessed strong chakra and visual prowess and relied solely on his power, which he believed to be special to do things. Azura on the other hand relied on the power of others together with his own hard work in order to accomplish the same things as his brother, very similar to you and how you can gain aid from anyone. In the end, Azura was able to gain his own power of the body, but even with his great power, he never forgot those bonds he forged, Hagoromo said with a sad smile. Through Azura's life, I glimpsed a new possible power through cooperation. I accepted his beliefs that peace is achieved through love, understanding and cooperation. And so I partitioned the power of the Jubi that I had into the 9 Bijou, giving each a name. I named him my successor as the guardian of Ninshu, but it was not to be. Instead of cooperating, the older brother Indra fought with Azura. Even though their bodies were destroyed, their chakra was not, and so it kept entering the reincarnation cycle, clinging to people through the generations. Hagoromo said, "Wow, that is kind of scary. So who currently hold their chakra?" Naruto asked. The previous incarnates were Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha. Hashirama was Azura and Madara was Indra. Their chakra is currently held by you, Naruto. I can see it clearly. Both Azura and Indra's chakra clings tightly to you, Hagoromo remarked. Wait, how is that possible? I don't have the Sharingan nor am I an Uchiha, Naruto said. Yes, for some odd reason your Sharingan never manifested itself, but you do have Uchiha blood, but due to the circumstances of your birth and the way you grew up, you inherited Azura's will and share his beliefs, yet you possess Indra's latent prowess as evidenced by how you grew so quickly with the aid of others and your own effort, Hagoromo said. So what has that got to do with anything? Naruto asked, not finding any relation between the revelation and his current situation. As you know, Madara tampered with things and infused his body with Hashirama's DNA. This fused Azura's chakra with Indra's, thus awakening my chakra and activating the Rinnegan within him. You are the first transmigrant to naturally have both chakras, meaning that my chakra is naturally occurring within you. Madara wanted to gain power to cast the infinite Tsukimi, which would have made him similar to Mother, but you and all the people you brought together through your life have managed to derail that plan. It might be that the shinobi world only accepts Mother and Indra's way and is doomed to fail from the start, Hagoromo said. No, it isn't. The world is written by those who live in it. If my one life could change so much, then hopefully those I have touched can continue to touch others. But thank you, old man sage, for continuing to believe in us and for continuing to watch over the shinobi world, Naruto said. Truly you do not know how to hate, Naruto Uzumaki. You think for yourself above all others, sacrificing yourself so that the shinobi world will have a future, giving it a chance at true peace. Hopefully your life there will not have been wasted. Anyway, I came here to tell you about the world you are heading to, Hagoromo said. The world where the Kamui took me, right? What would another dimension have to do with you? Naruto asked. This world you are going to is called Remnant. It is very similar to the shinobi world you once came from. They possess a more basic form of chakra called aura and bloodline limits called semblances. This world is much more peaceful than the shinobi world and has powerful individuals called huntsmen who are like the shinobi from our world. However, I have a task for you in this world, Naruto. As a favor that only you can do as my descendant and the first person to have my chakra naturally occurring, Hagoromo said. Is there a threat looming in this world? Is there a war brewing? Naruto asked. No, there is a divide between the races. On Remnant, there exists the humans and the faunus, humans with animal features. They are discriminated against just like what the Jinchuriki went through, although not as bad and not as isolated. In Remnant, there exists 4 kingdoms. I would like you to try and bring peace to this world and unite the 2 races. I would also like you to spread the teachings of Ninshu to them, teach them to harness their aura to understand one another. Hagoromo said. I will try my best, old man sage. I will live my life in this new world just as I once did in the shinobi world, Naruto said with conviction. Very well then, that is all I can ask of you. Hopefully your life will have as profound an effect here as it did in the shinobi world. It is time, Hagoromo said as the tailed beasts rose up out of the water. Shikaku, Matatabi, Isabu, Son Goku, Kokuo, Saiken, Chome, Gyuki, Kurama, it is time for the child of prophecy to arise, the one who would befriend the nine and frolic amongst them. It is time for you, Naruto Uzumaki, to gain your true power and take your place as my successor and bring peace to a new world. Now grab my staff with both of your hands and I will confer everything onto you, Hagoromo said. Naruto walked up to the sage and his hands reached out to grasp the sage's staff. He immediately felt power coursing through him. Power that felt like it belonged to him and he touched before but could never consciously access. He felt the sage's knowledge flow through him, the knowledge of not only the shinobi world but also his own. He felt his link with the bijou grow stronger and at the same time felt an odd tingle to his eyes. He looked down and was surprised to see that his eyes had changed. His eyes now bore the ripple pattern of the divine Rinnegan, but his was not the regular pattern like the sage's, Madara's or Nagato's. Instead, his had 6 tomos in each eye spread between the 2 innermost ring of each eye. Hey old man sage, what is up with my eyes? Naruto asked. Your eyes are unique in that you possess both the powers of the Sharingan and the Rinnegan. Your eye is actually a Sharingan but I evolved it into a Rinnegan for you so you have some additional powers. Now it is time for me to go. Best of luck Naruto Uzumaki, never fear for you shall never be alone. The bijou will always be around for you and you will always have your most powerful ability. The ability to make friends with anyone, Hagoromo said before he faded. The mindscape world went white and Naruto felt his world spinning around as everything took root in his physical body. He noticed that there was finally light at the end of all the darkness and emerged through it. Finding himself in a snowy forest, he took stock of himself. His eyes were now the Rinnegan and he found that he could turn it off at will, making a mental note to practice his new eye powers. He looked at his hands and saw that his left hand had the mark of the moon, the right had the mark of the sun. His clothes were in tatters. Checking his belongings, he saw that his main storage scroll was sealed away in his arm and was still intact. Getting up and dusting himself off, he took note of his current position. Based on the sage's knowledge, he should be in a forest near a place called Patch. He decided to head off in a random direction where he could sense some people only to realize that a fight was going on quite near to his current position. His curiosity piqued. Naruto decided to see the type of conflicts that plagued this world called Remnant. He tree-hopped to the location of the battle and was surprised to find a girl in a white hood fighting monsters. These monsters were black with red eyes and resembled wolves. Recalling the information that the sage left him, Naruto recognized them as Beowulfs. Summer Rose was not having a good day. She had finally been accepted to Beacon Academy after completing her time at Signal. She was finally on the way to achieving her dream of becoming a huntsman just like her parents once were. She had come to the mountainside memorial graveyard to pay respects to her parents, which was normal for her. Only normally, she had decided to visit alone without informing anyone or taking anyone with her. She was not expecting to encounter Grimm here, while she was a pretty decent huntsman in training. There were still a lot of Grimm here to deal with and she was muttering curses as she jumped away from a swipe by one of the Beowulfs. Naruto watched with interest as the hooded girl weaved in between the horde of Grimm and thinned out their numbers gradually. He had to admit she was fast and thought that her semblance was probably something like the swift release. Skill-wise, the girl was probably around Chunin level, which was pretty decent. Naruto could tell that she needed help soon as she was starting to get exhausted. He watched as she was sent flying into a tree by one of the Beowulfs. Struggling to get up as she felt both pain and exhaustion creep in, forcing herself to stand with the help of her weapon, deciding that it was best to intervene now, Naruto unsealed Sasuke's Chikudo, a final gift from someone he considered a brother in all but blood. He leapt from the trees, wind chakra flowing through the blade as he beheaded one of the Beowulfs that was about to pounce that girl. You alright there, miss? Naruto asked as he ducked another strike before bisecting the creature, deciding that he couldn't be bothered to deal with all these monsters. He decided to test out his Rinnegan/Sharingan hybrid. Amaterasu, Naruto thought as he focused his vision on the monsters, causing them to erupt into a pillar of black flames. He focused once more and erased the black flames before turning to the girl. Who are you? And what was that? Summer asked as she felt herself slipping into unconsciousness from exhaustion. Relax, I am not an enemy, sleep for now so that you can regain your strength, Naruto said as he caught the unconscious girl in his arms. He laid against a tree and placed the girl's head on his lap to allow her to rest. As he did so, he took note of her beautiful silver eyes and angelic face, feeling his cheeks heat up a little. Wow brat, barely an hour in this new world and you are already looking for a mate. I have to say though, Much better than that pink-haired banshee that you used to pursue, and also much less timid than that Hinata girl, Kurama said from within his mind. Shut up, you stupid fox. Anyway, I need some help. I want to train my Rinnegan powers as well as the powers the sage left me. Think you guys can help? Naruto thought, directing this to all the Bijou. We can help you with what we are good at and also give you some tips with the Rinnegan, however we have limited experience with it since the old man barely used his powers after creating us. Kurama responded. Alright then, I'll come in for some training, Naruto thought as he closed his eyes and entered his mindscape to train with the Bijou. He spent a great deal of time inside, and what amounted to days in the mindscape translated into minutes outside. He figured some of the powers of the Rinnegan and managed to figure out how to use the 6 paths techniques to at least a basic level. He also spent some time learning the powers of his Sharingan. He discovered that he had Amaterasu in his right eye and Kamui in his left. He practiced a little with his Susanoo up until the point where he could manifest the armored upper body. He was going to practice his elemental ninjutsu, but the girl laying in his lap was stirring, and so he had to cut his training short. The Bijou informed him that for now he could just draw on their individual chakra to use elemental releases until he started training to use his own, an offer which he graciously accepted but would not abuse. Summer Rose found herself stirring from the earlier battle. She found herself laying comfortably in the lap of the person who had saved her, looking up at the face of her savior. Summer couldn't help but blush as she got a good look at him. His blonde looks and blue eyes combined with his whisker marks gave him a very exotic appeal, quickly willing away such thoughts. She sat up and faced him, her hand unconsciously reaching for her sword. Relax, if I wanted to kill you I would have done so while you were unconscious. Anyway, my name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto said while extending a hand for a handshake, thankful that the sage had taught him how to speak and read the native language here. I'm Summer Rose, are you a faunus? And where did you learn to fight like that? And what were those black flames you used? Summer asked as she took his hand and shook it. Immediately Summer let go and clutched her head as she felt herself being assaulted by memories and visions of places and events she had never seen or experienced before. A beautiful red-haired woman giving birth to a child with blonde hair. A masked man summoning a giant fox with 9 tails to attack the village. The boy's parents sacrificing themselves to seal the beast into the child being an outcast in his village, the child's team being formed, a man with long dark hair, gray skin and sickly yellow eyes grinning evilly as he bit into the neck of the boy's friend with sharp fangs like a snake, the boy fighting against a black-haired boy with red eyes with 3 tomos and lightning crackling in his hand, 11 figures garbed in black cloaks decorated with red clouds as the sun rose behind them. 9 beasts of power being sealed into a giant stature that changed into a gigantic monster with 10 tails and a giant single evil eye glaring down at the world. The boy meeting all 9-tailed beasts and learning their names. The boy leaving his world forever for the sake of stopping the plans of a madman. The boy's meeting with a legendary figure from his world. The boy's arrival and purpose in this world. Summer recovered and shook her head as she realized that she had just viewed the life of the person that had rescued her. Her heart going out to him as she sympathized with the horrid life that he had to live, while at the same time she marveled at his tenacity and will to never give up and also his ability to overcome hatred. Are you alright there, Summer? Kurama, what happened? Naruto said. Apparently Hagoromo-jiji made it such that those with the correct characteristics and will not bring you harm will learn your true story by shaking hands with you and coming into contact with the sun mark. He probably put it in so that it would be easier for you to identify those you could consider your close allies and friends, Kurama said, although he wasn't certain of this. Thanks Kurama, and thanks Hagoromo-jiji for all your help. You've done so much for me already, Naruto thought to himself. Oh, you poor boy, to have to endure such things, Summer said as she embraced her savior. Naruto was a little shocked by the action. It's okay, Summer, that life is in the past. Right now I need to move forward. If I kept being depressed about what happened in the past, then I would never become who I am today, Naruto said as Summer finally let go of him. Well, since you are new here, why don't you follow me back to my place first? I don't have any friends and my house isn't too far away. You can use one of the spare rooms. We could go out to Vale to get you some clothes, Summer said as she got up and extended a hand for Naruto to take. Naruto gladly accepted and got up. Thanks for this, Summer. I guess this means that we are both each other's first friends, Naruto said with a warm smile that made Summer's heart flutter. Yeah, I guess it does, Summer said as she led the way, the pair walking off into the distance. Time skip a few months. Summer was excitedly gesturing to the outside world as the ship flew past various landmarks of her home on the way to Beacon Academy. The blonde man next to her chuckling a little bit at how childish she was acting, but who was he to comment given that just a year ago he would probably be acting the same way. It had been a few months since Naruto had first arrived in Remnant. In that time, he had gotten to know the place better, namely patch where Summer lived and the nearby city of Vale, which was the capital city of the kingdom with the same name. He got around and explored the sites, adapting to current society and learning to operate like a huntsman and not a shinobi, although that did not mean that he forgot his shinobi lineage but rather he was very careful not to display some of the characteristics of a shinobi so openly. His Konoha headband and jumpsuit was stored away safely as he had changed his outfit in favor of something that blended better with this world. His outfit now consisted of a long-sleeved black sweatshirt that stopped at his forearms with black pants. He wore open-toed shinobi boots. He had black gloves with metal plates on them to hide the sage markings and wore a face mask to cover his whisker marks since that was more convenient than having to explain that he was not a faunus. He also wore a orange haori with black flames at the bottom. He had a kunai pouch strapped to his leg and a multipurpose pouch around his waist. His weapon of choice, a large sword, was strapped to his back. This weapon was built by himself using the creation of all things power of the Rinnegan. He had decided to craft himself a weapon to fit his needs as a huntsman since he had passed the Beacon entrance exam to come to the academy together with Summer, much to her joy. He dubbed the weapon the fusion sword. It was a large blade that could be split into 6 individual smaller blades and could fire off jutsu from the tip and make it look as though he had used dust. This allowed him to use ninjutsu while still blending in. 1. He had quite a good bit of money saved up thanks to him republishing the books which had been left behind by Jiraiya. Life was pretty good for him. He wasn't hated or discriminated against with the exception for being labeled as a faunus, although that was only a few incidences. He trained a lot with Summer, helping the girl improve while also learning skills from her, so a mutual benefit for the both of them. He had made leaps and bounds in ninjutsu and his dojutsu and had even started learning how to use the Hiraishin that his father had left for him before he departed the shinobi world. Life was good and really the only thing really needing work in Remnant was the relations between the 4 kingdoms, the humans and faunus ties and the threat of the Grimm. This world was nothing like the shinobi world. There was little grayness. The Grimm were creatures of darkness and the huntsmen were the light that protected everyone. "Hey Naruto!" Summer shouted, jolting Naruto out of his thoughts. "You wanted something, Summer?" Naruto said. "I have been trying to get your attention for the past minute. You were zoning out," Summer said while putting her hands on her hips and pouting cutely. "Sorry about that, just thinking a little bit," Naruto said while scratching the back of his head. "You were thinking about them again, right? The people you left behind," Summer said as she placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. "A little bit, yeah, but mostly about my time here. I've moved on, Summer. Those people were my past. My future is here in Remnant. There is no reason to dwell and desire something which cannot be attained. It would just weigh us down," Naruto said. "Anyway, enough with that, we should enjoy the view," Summer said as she pulled Naruto to the window. Look. You can see all of Vale from up here, you can even see Signal Academy," Summer pointed out excitedly. "You are right, Summer, this is most certainly an excellent view," Naruto said. Before long, the ship had landed safely at Beacon Academy and the students were asked to disembark. Naruto and Summer walked together towards the auditorium, all the while taking in the scenery of the school. They also noticed some of the people who they might be working with during the year. Deciding that they had enough of sightseeing, they made their way to the auditorium where they listened to the welcoming address by the current headmaster of Beacon Academy. "Welcome to Beacon Academy. You all possess great potential to become huntsmen, and here at this school, you will learn to hone that potential and nurture it as you grow from huntsmen in training into full-fledged huntsmen. You are all the next generation of huntsmen that will protect Remnant from threats. You are the next generation that will continue the peace that our world currently enjoys. Now then, you will gather here tonight. This ballroom will be your sleeping quarters for the night before you are all assigned dorm rooms based on your teams after initiation tomorrow." "Dismissed," the man said. That night, Summer was excitedly chatting away about how excited she was to finally start Beacon Academy. She talked about how she hoped to be in the same team with Naruto and really wanted to make more friends. Naruto just listened attentively, enjoying the fact that he could make friends and live without being judged. As the 2 friends went to sleep, thoughts of the exciting future ahead of them kept swimming around in their minds. All they knew was that life in the foreseeable future was not going to be boring. Naruto was getting himself ready in the lockers for the initiation that was about to take place soon. He adjusted his gloves, checking his pouches to make sure that they were stocked with all the supplies he would and might need. Even a few Hirashin kunai for good measure, although he would probably not be using it so as to avoid getting too much attention, but better to be safe than sorry. He held his fusion sword in his hand, swinging it to get used to the familiar feel of the weapon. Once satisfied, he strapped it to his back using chakra to keep it held in place using a special chakra conducting holster that wouldn't require him to focus on keeping it held in place. Another interesting fact that he had learnt while training was that despite gaining greater chakra reserves than before, he now had perfect control thanks to the Rinnegan. Next to Naruto, Summer was getting herself ready for initiation as well. She had her now twin swords strapped to her side and was checking to make sure that everything was in place. After adjusting her white cloak one last time, she turned to Naruto and gave him a warm smile before they walked off together towards the cliff where the first years were supposed to proceed to for initiation. They had agreed to be partnered up. This year, the school had decided to allow them to choose who they wanted as partners before the pairs would be grouped together after initiation. Making their way to the cliff, they sized up the other huntsmen in training, taking particular notice of a black-haired man that used a large scythe. Crow was his name. If Naruto recalled correctly having heard it in passing, all the time for thought was interrupted as the pairs were launched into the Emerald Forest in order to complete the initiation ceremony. The initiation was a simple one. Enter the Emerald Forest that surrounded the academy, head to the forest ruins at the end of the path, retrieve a relic and then return back to the cliff to be evaluated. No one said anything about being launched into the forest, no one said anything about having to figure out some way to land without aid. And although the teachers mentioned that they would encounter opposition within the forest, they didn't mention that they might run into Grimm. And they surely didn't mention that they could encounter some of the rarer Grimm creatures. And that is where we find ourselves now, one Naruto Uzumaki covered in slime, skulking back towards the academy after he and Summer had managed to find the ruin and took an artifact with them. Summer was keeping some distance from Naruto, who was still grumbling and muttering curses about what happened to him earlier. An Ursa that tried to pounce on him becoming a victim of his aggression as it was cleanly bisected in two. You alright there, Naruto? Summer asked. I'm fine, Summer, I just want to get back to the academy and get this whatever this gunk is off me, Naruto said. Naruto for all his luck had somehow gotten himself swallowed up by a king taijutsu which they encountered in the forest, this not being the first time he had been swallowed by a snake, reminding him of the forest of death all over again. Still it was pretty cool how you ripped the snake apart, you were like swallowed by it and then I was all worried and then the next moment you busted out all cool like with your sword ripping a nice big hole in the snake, Summer gushed. Yeah, it was cool, but very, very gross. Come on, let's get going, I'm interested to know who we get on our team, Naruto said as they made good time back to the academy. Once they had managed to trek back to the cliff, they handed the collected relic to the professor on duty and headed off to get some rest before the team announcements, which was still a good few hours away. Naruto of course made sure to clean the gunk off before relaxing with Summer, but even after spending a good 30 minutes getting clean, he could swear that he still felt the slime and gunk from the snake's innards. They gathered back in the ballroom for team announcements and watched as various names flashed on the screen behind the headmaster as the teams were being formed. Eventually, the screen displayed their names together with two others, Crow Bronwen and Taeyang Xiaolong. Summer rose, Naruto Uzumaki, Crow Bronwen, Taeyang Xiaolong, from this day forth, the four of you shall be working together as Team Blur, lead by Crow Bronwen, the headmaster said. The four teens looked at each other before introducing themselves. Taeyang was a fairly tall person for his age with blonde hair not unlike Naruto. He wore an outfit oddly reminiscent of a biker, with leather and lots of it. He had a pair of gauntlets and also a large axe strapped to his back. My name is Summer Rose, I look forward to getting to know all of you and working with you through these 4 years here at Beacon Academy, Summer said cheerfully. Naruto Uzumaki, pleased to meet you, hope we can get along, Naruto said while giving a lazy wave. I like the two of you, I think we will get along just fine. Name's Taeyang, Taeyang Xiaolong, Taeyang said as he gave a firm handshake to Naruto. The feeling is mutual. Name's Crow Bronwen, I promise to do my best as team leader, Crow said while giving a polite bow. Yes, it seemed like the four of them would get along just fine. Life at Beacon was going to be interesting for both Naruto and Summer, neither knowing what the future held. both not expecting their relationship to deepen and go from becoming the best of friends to something more. Time skip 1 year later. It has already been a year since Naruto first joined Beacon Academy together with Summer. Much has happened within 1 year. Naruto had finally gotten over his past completely and rarely if ever thought about things in the shinobi world. His team was well bonded and were able to work together. A far cry from Team 7 where everyone refused to cooperate. It had been a fun year in school although lessons were as boring as they always were. It seemed that was a constant no matter what world you are in. Naruto quickly built a rapport for himself as one of the huntsmen in training with an unmatched aura level and could rival some of the professors. Of course Naruto made sure to keep some of his better skills hidden away, mostly relying on his fusion sword enhanced with chakra for better cutting power. Light use of the Hiraishin and some chakra attacks that he felt could easily be written off as dust usage. However, despite his best efforts to conceal his true origins, the headmaster somehow figured out he was hiding something and confronted him about it. Of course his team already knew the truth. He had come clean about it a few days in when he felt that they could be trusted. A few days after initiation and after official academy life had started. Guys, what I am about to say does not leave this room, is that clear? Naruto said after they had finished classes. What are you talking about, Naruto? You want to tell us some sort of secret? Crow said. Yes, it has to do with where I come from, Naruto said. You said you came from some faraway village, Taeyang said. That is partially true, the whole truth is that the village I come from is from another dimension, Naruto said as he showed them his Rinnegan. What happened to your eyes? Crow asked, a little scared by the power he could feel radiated from those eyes. These are the Rinnegan, the eyes of a god from where I am from and have various powers. Allow me to show you my story, Naruto said as he looked into their eyes and used Tsukuyomi to show them his life. It all started on October 10th, the night of my birth, Naruto began. By the time the story was completed, his teammates had experienced a range of emotions ranging from sadness, pity, hatred and anger. Naruto's life was truly sad and it was a miracle that he went through all that and became the young man in front of them today. Summer had a hand over his comforting him since talking about his past was never something easy to do. We promise you, Naruto, we will not say a word of this to anyone, Crow said while placing a hand on his shoulder. Taeyang nodded at this. Thank you for having faith in us to tell us all this, Naruto, Taeyang said. Hey, if I can't trust my team with this, then how can I trust them with my lives, right? Naruto said, trying to lighten up the mood. 6 months after initiation, Naruto found himself within a secluded room that was oddly familiar to the torture and interrogation room back in Konoha. He had come here after being told that the headmaster wanted to speak to him about some matters urgently. Naruto sighed, hoping that the man was not onto to him, but at the same time was not surprised if he would be. After all, being headmaster of Beacon Academy was like being the Hokage, and one does not become a Hokage by being easily fooled. Mr. Uzumaki, I trust you know why you are here. The headmaster said as he took a seat. No, I do not, sir, Naruto responded curtly. Well then let me answer that for you. I want to know who exactly you are and where you come from, the headmaster said, his expression turning serious. It is as I told you, sir, I come from a faraway village that now no longer exists anymore, Naruto said. Don't use that on me, boy, that may have the others fooled, but you have the eyes of a war veteran, the eyes of someone who has seen far too much of the darker side of humanity. Eyes that do not belong on a young man like yourself, the headmaster said. Naruto sighed. I should have known that you would be able to see through that ruse. Why are you so interested? Naruto said. I am simply trying to ascertain if you are a threat to Remnant and my students, the headmaster said. Can I have assurance that whatever you see or hear here remains between the two of us? Naruto said as he closed his eyes. You have my word that whatever is spoken in this room remains within these 4 walls, the headmaster said. Very well then, it all began on October 10th. The night of my birth, Naruto began as he used Tsukuyomi to show the headmaster his life up to the point of his arrival in Remnant and meeting with Summer. I see, truly you are a fine man, Mr. Uzumaki, a rare one in a million man so willing to sacrifice himself for the sake of others. You will grow up to be a fine man and an even finer huntsman. Thank you for telling me all of this. You may return back to whatever it is you were doing, the headmaster said as he left the room. In the year that had passed, he and Summer's feelings for each other had developed to the point where they admitted their love for each other and decided to pursue a relationship romantically. They admitted their feelings during the freshman dance. they went on dates whenever they had the time, and also little acts of affection like holding hands or spending time together alone. The team as a whole had developed and quickly became known as the best freshman team at Beacon Academy. All in all, life was good for them. Naruto recalled the fun times he had going out on Grimm extermination training missions with his team to the Emerald Forest, and how he kept testing out techniques there, and every one single time he pulled a new technique, Crow and Taeyang would be slack-jawed while Summer would be cheering like an excited little schoolgirl. Right now, the team were off on their first official solo mission as a team since second years were finally allowed to take missions. The more Naruto thought about it, Beacon Academy was more like the stage between Genin and Chunin. Basically, to become a Genin here is like to become a huntsman in training. Passing the entrance exams to the academies being the equivalent to the Genin test, and the preparatory schools being like the Shinobi Academy. The key difference is that there was no fast-track promotion. It was all planned out so you would graduate into the equivalent of a Chunin here after 4 years. They were walking through the forest of Forever Falls to clear out an infestation of Grimm that had been reported dangerously close to the walls of Vale. They were patrolling the area and came to a halt when they noticed a few Ursa roaming the area, each of them taking up their usual spots, Taeyang at the front, Summer and Crow behind him, and Naruto taking point to cover the team with his jutsu and to help sense any incoming danger. Naruto, what are we looking at? Crow asked. Naruto got into a crouching position and his index finger on the ground as he stretched out his senses. We got 2 packs of Ursa including an Ursa Major, and around 20 Beowulfs, Naruto said as he kept his senses at high alert in order to give them ample warning of any danger. When it came to the Grimm, surprises were common. Alright then, Naruto, start us off. Taeyang, go in after the initial assault. Summer, you and I will be following close behind, Crow said as he came up with a battle plan. Naruto held his fusion sword like it was a gun, channeling both wind and lightning chakra into it to create storm release. He discovered after training together with the help of the bijou that he could create any sub-elemental release he wanted so long as he knew how to create the chakra and knew how to mold the chakra into a jutsu. For example, by mixing together wind chakra and lightning chakra, he could create the chakra of storm release. However, he had to train to control the chakra in order to use jutsu of that element. He found that sub-elements that the bijou represented were easier because his body subconsciously knew how to use the sub-elemental chakra. Storm release, laser circus. Naruto said as energy pooled at the tip of his fusion sword before multiple lasers were fired off at the Grimm, some managing to land lethal hits while some only managed to hurt the Grimm or separate the groups. Alright then, let's do this, team. Crow said as he and Summer followed behind Taeyang to attack the Grimm, his scythe and fluttering cloak making him look just like the Grim Reaper. Taeyang used his axe to cleave down the Ursa before hurling it through a couple of Beowulfs, the axe landing into the ground with a thunk. Crow used his high-caliber bullets to kill some of the offending Grimm before decapitating a few with his scythe, doing a eerily graceful dance of death. Summer used her semblance to run circles around the Grimm, cutting into their numbers with her twin swords with grace and poise, causing Naruto to let out a whistle. As the last of the Grimm was dispatched by the team, Naruto turned his head so quickly the team could have sworn that they hear something snap. Something big is heading this way. Naruto said, as if on cue, a loud rumbling was heard and a Goliath came charging towards them at high speed, looking to gore them on its tusks. Naruto was quick to act. Using his sword to block its tusks, the Goliath used its much higher mass to push Naruto back before throwing him off to the side, stunning him for the moment. Naruto! Summer shouted in worry. Shit, I didn't think that we would encounter a Goliath, and I thought Goliaths were supposed to ignore humans. Taeyang said as he held a ready stance after retrieving his axe. They don't ignore humans, they wait for opportune times to strike. I guess it must have thought that we were weakened from fighting so many of its brethren that it would be a good idea to strike right now, Crow stated. Cho Udama Rasengan. Naruto's voice echoed through the forest as he appeared above the Goliath and slammed a large ball of swirling blue energy into the creature's back. The compressed ball of chakra grinding into the monster's armored back with ease, turning the creature into paste. Naruto! You're alright. Summer shouted as she glonked Naruto. Had us worried there for a moment when the Goliath threw you aside, Crow said. What was that technique you used against the Goliath? Taeyang asked. It was the Rasengan, a technique my dad developed and I perfected, Naruto said proudly. The rest of them team sharing a knowing look since they knew how much Naruto loved talking about things that linked him back to his parents despite never being able to meet them in real life. Well, let's get back to Beacon Academy. We've got a break till the end of the week after completing the mission, and I think after encountering that Goliath this mission is at the very least A, B, maybe even A rank, Crow said as the rest of the team agreed and followed him towards the transport that would take them back to Beacon Academy. Once the team headed back to Beacon Academy, they went to talk to the headmaster about the mission, with Crow giving details on their encounter with the Goliath and how they were able to take it down thanks to their teamwork. The fact that the team encountered a Goliath was disconcerting since Goliaths avoided places with regular human traffic and given the train passing through Forever Falls, a Goliath should not have been there. Nevertheless, Team Blur was congratulated on a job well done and were given the rest of the week off before returning back for class next week. Hey Summer, how about we head into Vale for a date? I think there is a carnival in town this week, Naruto said as they dumped their gear in the lockers. Sure, why not Naruto, we can go tomorrow. Right now I just want to relax, Summer said as she closed her locker after depositing her stuff. Sure, who's up for a team lunch? Naruto shouted. Team lunch it is, and Naruto's paying since he suggested it. Crow said. Alright, I second that motion. Taeyang said. I third that motion carried, lunch is on Naruto. Summer said. The team went off to the cafe for a nice lunch in high spirits, all except for Naruto, who was grumbling something about trickster teammates and crying over how his Gamachan was going to become empty. Date day. Naruto was strolling through the carnival with his arm wrapped around Summer. Summer was busy eating cotton candy while holding on to a fox plush toy that Naruto had won for her from one of the carnival games. She was leaning her head against Naruto's shoulder as they walked through the carnival, enjoying the sights and sounds as they took part in the various carnival activities. It was getting late and the sun was already setting. They decided to do one last thing at the carnival before heading back to Beacon. Hey, Naruto, thanks for taking me to the carnival today, Summer said as she moved as close to Naruto as possible. It was nothing, Summer, you know I would do anything to make you happy, Naruto said. Say, Naruto, did you love anyone back in your old world? Don't you ever wish to return back to your old world? Summer asked. I did have precious people, but only one of them ever managed to get me to feel the way you make feel, sadly. The war might have probably changed those feelings and I will never know what we could have become. I used to want to return to my world, to return to all my friends who were once my world. But now I don't really care anymore. Summer, you are my world now. You are everything to me and I would go to the ends of the earth to keep you safe, Naruto said resolutely. I love you, Naruto, Summer said as she moved up to kiss him. I love you too, Summer, Naruto said as he leaned down to capture her lips, feeling the familiar warmth that he now found addictive envelop him. They broke apart and looked deep into each other's eyes, their feelings of love conveyed without a single word. Come on Naruto, let's go take the Ferris wheel and enjoy the Vale skyline. I heard that it is breathtaking at night. Then after that we should probably head back to Beacon, Summer said. I don't think it is as breathtaking as you, Naruto said as Summer had a light blush from his compliment. Oh, you flatterer, come on, let's get going, Summer said as she playfully hit his chest before dragging him towards the Ferris wheel to end off their wonderful date. Time skip graduation year at Beacon Academy. 4 years had gone by like a breeze for Naruto. Just to think, it had already been more than 4 years since his arrival to Remnant and his promise to the sage to try and bring peace to this world. Thus far he had some luck, standing up for the faunus at Beacon Academy and become a school icon for equal rights and power through cooperation and understanding. Where there used to be discrimination in this school, it quickly changed to where faunus were treated with equal respect, thus endearing Naruto to the faunus with how he was so willing to stand up for them. It was not a big step towards the peace that he envisioned for this world, but just like in the shinobi world, Naruto would bring peace by touching one life at a time. Him and Summer got even closer. They still had yet to have any form of sexual relations just yet, since they both agreed that they would wait until they were married to do that. However, they were not against making out or having some light petting. They even went to sharing a bed together, although not sleeping naked or anything like that, in order to prevent any accidents from happening. Their teammates were very supportive of their relationships as they could see how happy the two made each other feel. His team had become almost like family to him here in Remnant. He had started in this world alone before meeting Summer, and now he had two people he would consider brothers in all but blood. Crow was like the annoyingly smart know-it-all older brother while Taeyang was like the excitable jock of a little brother who liked telling bad jokes and making lame puns. Team Blur had risen in fame over the years and were touted as a team filled with promising future huntsmen, each of the members earning fame for their individual skill and the team as a whole garnering attention with how well they gelled together and how they completed their missions with deadly efficiency. They rarely if ever suffered any injuries even on hard missions and barring grim casualties, kept any situation well under control. Before they knew it, it was almost time for them to graduate from Beacon Academy. It's hard to believe that it's been 4 years, huh? Crow remarked. Yeah, I mean it felt like only yesterday that we first joined the academy and went through initiation to become a team, Taeyang remarked. So what are the two of you planning to do once you become fully fledged huntsmen? Summer asked as she had Naruto's arm wrapped around hers while they were walking through the halls for what might be the last time. Well, I was planning on traveling the world and going where the winds take me. It might be nice to know other places besides Vale, Taeyang said. I kind of expected that answer from you, Taeyang. You always look forward to seeing and experiencing new things, Naruto commented. Hey, I can't help but be a curious person, besides seeing the world will do me a lot of good, Taeyang said with a chuckle. How about you, Crow? Naruto asked. Well, I guess I'll probably be huntsman for a few years out in the field to gain some experience before I become a professor. I feel that teaching the next generation of potential huntsmen will help ensure the future of Remnant, you know, Crow said. You sure you're still only 20? Because I swear for a moment there you sounded like an enlightened 70-year-old man sprouting sage advice, Summer deadpanned. Hey, I resent that. You've been spending way too much time with Naruto, you've even gained his lousy sense of humor, Crow said. Hey, at least I don't make bad puns like a certain Xiaolong, Naruto said. The team enjoyed a good laugh, enjoying what might be some of their last moments together as a team before they parted ways, although they were definitely going to have reunions. And what are the two of you planning to do? Crow asked. Naruto looked to Summer for a moment before speaking. Well, I guess we are going to do the same as Taeyang, except we are probably going to spend some time in the different kingdoms so we know how they work better, Naruto said while Summer nodded in agreement. Yeah, we want to see how the other kingdoms operate and maybe get them to cooperate. We also want to see if we can help bridge the gap between humans and faunas. We also want to see if we can get in touch with the White Fang, Summer elaborated. Achieving your goal of peace one step at a time, and Naruto. Well then, whatever it is you do, just know that I will be behind you 100%, Crow said. Me too, we believe in you, Naruto, we know you will find the way to true peace, Taeyang said. Before they could continue their conversation, they heard the warning alarm sound throughout the school halls. The whole team froze and tensed up, ready to spring into action as they waited for the announcement that would explain the cause of the alarm. Attention all students, this is not a drill. Impending Grimm invasion. All first and second years, proceed to Vale to aid in evacuation. Third years, take your stations behind the second defensive line. Fourth years, take your positions at the primary defensive line. All students gear up and prepare for battle effective immediately, the announcement said as the cause for the alarm was explained. The 4 team members looked at each other for a moment before nodding in agreement, checking to make sure that no one else was around in the hallways. Naruto used the Hiration to get them back to their room where they got dressed for battle. They zoomed through the hallways towards the lockers, which were now packed full of all the students who were grabbing their battle gears. As soon as Team Blur was ready, they proceeded to the primary defensive wall to meet with the headmaster in order to receive their orders. Team Blur reporting, sir. Crow said. Alright then, we are looking at a full-scale Grimm invasion, although we have yet to ascertain the exact number, the headmaster said. Naruto, do you think you could? Crow asked. Naruto nodded, activating his Rinnegan and flaring out his senses. It seems like we have 2 Goliaths, 5 packs of Ursa and around 50 Beowulfs, Naruto said. My word, that is quite the large force. Why would the Grimm suddenly attack like this? Beowulfs and Ursa I can understand, but the Goliaths? This is starting to get odd. It could be possible that this is in retaliation to the expansion of Vale. There have been reports of a herd of Goliath in that area, the headmaster said mostly to himself. What are our orders, sir? Crow asked. For now all we can do is hold the wall. It will take time for the huntsmen we recalled to arrive, the headmaster said. Sir, if I may speak freely? Naruto asked. Go ahead, Naruto, the headmaster said. How much property damage can we afford? Naruto said, gesturing to the landscape where the approaching Grimm could be seen in the distance. As long as the Grimm are repelled, it does not matter why. The headmaster asked. I would like to take the battle to the Grimm, alone, Naruto said resolutely, earning shocked gasps from his team. Are you crazy, boy? I can't have you sent out there alone, it would be suicide, the headmaster said. No, it wouldn't if I attack the Grimm now while we are still far away from the civilization, then I don't need to hold back, Naruto said, his Rinnegan shining. Very well, then go on ahead, the headmaster relented. You better not die out there, Naruto. Crow said. You better come back to us, to me, Naruto, Summer said as she gave him a passionate kiss. I will, Naruto said before he jumped off the wall, landing softly on the ground. This will be the perfect test for this, complete body Susanoo. Naruto said as the tomo in his Rinnegan started spinning. His body was covered in an ethereal blue glow before a ribcage formed around him. The ribcage expanded into a full skeletal structure before being covered in muscles. The Susanoo further expanded, transforming into a large blue Tengu warrior the size of a mountain with Naruto situated in a jewel in its head. My word, he had something like that hidden away. Crow said in awe and shock while Taeyong muttered something along the lines of overkill much. Oh, my Naruto and that warrior thingy are so cool. Summer gushed. I am going to have so much paperwork after this, I can already feel the headache, the headmaster said while rubbing his temples. Naruto made his Susanoo walk towards the approaching Grimm. He stopped when he felt he was close enough and decided to test out the power of his complete body Susanoo in real life. Having only used it in his training with the bijou in his mindscape, he created Amaterasu flames in one hand and a bow in another. Blaze release, flame control. Amaterasu arrow. Naruto said as he formed an arrow with the Amaterasu flames, cleaving a clear path straight through the approaching Grimm as they were burned by the eternal black flames of Amaterasu. He willed away the construct before holding the sheathed katana, channeling chakra as he prepared to draw the blade. With a swift pull, the chakra was released and the radiant energy surged outward, destroying the remaining Grimm and cleaving the mountain in half. My word! That thing is damn powerful, Crow remarked while Taeyong let out a whistle. My god, I am going to have so much paperwork for the collateral damage he caused. The next time I tell him he can level the landscape, someone please beat the sense back into my head, the headmaster said as the Susanoo disappeared and Naruto returned back to the primary defense line. In the aftermath of the Grimm attack, Naruto was given a medal for his strength and rumors started spreading on how his semblance allowed him to generate large constructs of aura. He was even believed to be the strongest huntsman of the generation and maybe even the strongest huntsman in history. Before long, graduation day rolled by and as everyone celebrated becoming huntsmen, Team Blur enjoyed the bittersweet moment of being an official team for the last day. They shared a final celebratory drink, promising to meet once more in the future and to always keep in touch before going their separate ways. Summer and Naruto leaving together on their journey to try and bring peace to the world and unite the four kingdoms, both human and faunus alike. Naruto sighed in contentment as he leaned against a tree in a park in Atlas. He enjoyed moments like this in between jobs as huntsman, times when he could just relax and enjoy the company of his most precious person. He looked down and smiled as he saw Summer relaxing with her head in his lap as he ran his fingers through her hair. He loved being able to just relax with Summer without having to think about missions or anything. It had been 6 years since Naruto and Summer had graduated from Beacon Academy. In those 6 years, the pair had visited 3 of the 4 kingdoms, spending around 2 years in each of the kingdoms. They had started their careers as huntsmen in Vale, spending 2 years in their native kingdom, taking on missions and learning more about the kingdom in general. It was also some time after they had graduated that Naruto had decided to give Summer chakra, using his sun mark to unlock the dormant chakra network and also bestowing her with the Sharingan for good measure. He recalled that fond memory of how excited she had been upon receiving her gift. It was Summer's birthday that day and Naruto was raking his head trying to come up with a gift. It was still night outside, so Summer had yet to awaken. Currently, Naruto was pacing inside his mindscape with the bijou watching with rapt amusement. He was walking back and forth while scratching his head trying to come up with a good birthday present to give to Summer since this was going to be her 21st birthday, so he wanted to make it really special. Brat! Will you stop that annoying pacing? You are going to burn a hole in the mindscape, Kurama said as he rested his head on his paws. But I can't think of a good gift for Summer. Naruto said. Relax Naruto, I am sure she will like whatever you give to her, Gyuki said. Yes, after all, it is the thought and sincerity that counts the most when giving a gift, Kokuo said. Well, I say you rock her world and tap that beauty, I mean you two haven't done anything with each other at all, Shikaku said with a mad grin. Shut up you Erotanuki. Naruto said while images of him and Summer getting it on assaulted his mind resulting in a light nosebleed. How about you give her chakra Naruto? Matatabi suggested. Wait, I can do that. Naruto said incredulously. You have the sage's knowledge for goodness sake. It seems things never change, you are still as blur and stupid as ever, Kurama said. Hey, I resent that I have gotten smarter here, Naruto countered. Anyway, Naruto, yes, you can give the gift of chakra to others, but I would be careful of who you give it to, you wouldn't want the same thing as the shinobi world taking place here, Gyuki warned. Yeah, I know, but as long as we are careful with it and preach it as a way to protect those you love and to reach out to others, then it will be fine, I guess, Naruto said deep in thought. Your mate should be worthy enough to receive chakra, in fact I support her getting chakra, anyone who can keep your dumbass in line has my vote, Kurama said. Are any of you against me giving Summer chakra? Naruto asked the rest of the Bijou. Thank you for considering all of our views Naruto, but the choice is ultimately yours as the successor to the Sage of the Six Paths and the first Sage of the Six Paths in this world. You make the final decision, Chomei said. I feel that Summer is a pure soul, she has done nothing but treat you with love and kindness, truly you have found a good mate Naruto, Son Goku commented. Alright then I guess that solves my problem of a birthday present, Naruto said as he left the mindscape. Honestly that kid only knows how to think about others, he cares more for others than about himself, Saiken mused. That is why he is so deserving to carry on father's legacy, because he knows the power of unity and harmony, a power only usable by someone who places others before himself, Kurama said as the Bijou all shared a smile before returning back to hibernation. Sometime later that day in a secluded forest clearing. Hey Summer, close your eyes, I have a present for you, Naruto said. What is it Naruto? Summer asked excitedly, she felt Naruto place his right hand on her forehead, Naruto focused and unlocked her chakra system while imparting some of his power into her. Summer felt a surging warmth fill her body, she felt power she never knew before waiting to be used. There, Naruto said as he removed his hand from her forehead and took her hands in his, I have given you the gift of chakra and some of my own power. This will allow you to use some of my techniques although the extent of what you can do with chakra remains to be seen. Are you sure about this Naruto? Giving me this power? Summer asked, shocked by the gift. I trust you Summer, you have shown me nothing but kindness and love, I want to give you this power so that you can protect yourself and so we can remain together for as long possible, Naruto said while giving her a soft smile. I promise Naruto I will follow you everywhere and help you achieve your dream of peace, Summer said resolutely. And I promise that I will never leave you Summer, Naruto replied as the two shared a passionate kiss, the two who started in this world alone, now would always have each other for as long as they lived. Over the 6 years, Naruto had eased Summer into using her chakra, teaching her what he knew from his own knowledge as well as the knowledge of the Sage of the Six Paths. He discovered some interesting things over time as he trained Summer in using chakra. First was that his chakra had somehow gained an elevated state that allowed him to better understand others. He chalked this up to his chakra changing back to the concept of ninshu and being used to connect people. Second was that he shared a mental bond with Summer and she was able to enter his mindscape to converse with the Bijou and vice versa, they could communicate and understand each other through thought. In terms of chakra prowess, Summer on her own quite powerful, she didn't have the largest reserves but she did have excellent control, thanks to the power Naruto gave her. She possessed the ability to use all 5 nature releases and her reserves were also around low Kage level. Naruto had also managed to pass on the Sharingan to her and for some unknown reason, her Sharingan had evolved directly into the Manjikyu state but with no risk of blindness. Kurama suspected that it was due to Naruto sharing some of Indra's chakra with Summer. For training, Naruto had her use shadow clones to speed up her training since they rarely had time to train. He had started her off doing basic chakra exercises while also making use of his Kamui dimension in order to train her in jutsu. Her excellent control allowed her to make use of Tsunade's super strength technique and she also had an aptitude for medical ninjutsu. Naruto had left her with the scrolls from Tsunade that he had brought with him so that she could learn at her own leisure. He had taught her many jutsu but always focused on mastering what she knew first before moving on. To him this meant that she could perform jutsu with either fewer hand seals or without the need for hand seals at all. This stemmed from the belief he shared with his father that if you could strike before your enemy then you would be the one left standing. Teaching her jutsu also allowed Naruto to explore some of the knowledge that the Six Paths sage had left behind for him, including some on jutsu and also on some other things like Six Paths Senjutsu and some other aspects of the Rinnegan. He had also helped her master the Sharingan and her unique Manjikyu powers. Summer possessed the same ocular powers as Itachi Uchiha. Her left eye had the power of Amaterasu while her right eye had the power of Tsukuyomi, after she became proficient in using both Amaterasu and Tsukuyomi, which Naruto noted her application was quite unique compared to Itachi since she would change up the illusion to achieve the desired effects rather than just cause mental trauma. Summer using her Sharingan for the first time had been quite hilarious. "Naruto, I feel an odd sensation in my eyes," Summer said one day as they were training chakra control exercises. Why don't you try focusing your chakra to your eyes?" Naruto advised. Summer did as suggested, and when she opened her eyes, her regular silver eyes were replaced with blood-red ones with 3 tomos in each eye before they converged once more to form a black circle with 4 diagonal lines that nearly touch in the center. "Naruto, my eyes feel weird and everything looks funny, you look blue and why are you moving so slowly?" Summer said as she looked around with her new vision. "Relax Summer, everything is still the same, it's just that you activated the Sharingan, I must have given it to you when I gave you some of my power," Naruto said before he went on to explain what the Sharingan could do. Summer was excitedly walking around the forest where they were training while testing out her new vision. "Whoa, I feel really tired suddenly," Summer said as she fell over, Naruto catching her in his arms before she could hit the ground. "Just stop the chakra flow to your eyes, you aren't used to them just yet so you are wasting a lot of chakra having them active. Over time you can activate them for as long as you need with minimal drain with training," Naruto said. Summer nodded in understanding as she managed to stand on her own, the two of them deciding to call it quits for the day and spend some time enjoying their last days in Vale. During those 6 years, Summer had progressed to the point where she could easily go toe-to-toe with a Kage-level shinobi from his own world, with the only unknown factor being battle experience. While a strong huntsman, Summer never had to fight against another huntsman before, so Naruto tried to remedy that problem by sparring with her on occasion. He had also used the power of the creation of all things in order to recreate her swords with chakra-conductive metal to allow her to fight with them in a similar way to his fusion sword. She had learned many different elemental jutsu and he had also taught her the Rasengan and also basic Fuinjutsu, thanks to the knowledge left behind by the Sage of Six Paths. Naruto was now a master at Fuinjutsu and he taught Summer the basics as well as showing her the possibilities of what it could do. Occasionally, the two of them would brainstorm possible concepts for Fuinjutsu or things Summer wanted to see it do, and they would work together to either try to achieve it or get close enough to the desired result. One interesting thing to note was that her Susanoo was pink, much to her glee. Naruto mused that the Susanoos probably took the same color as the dominant emotion of their user at the time of first manifestation. Madara's was blue, probably representing his desire to protect his clan. Sasuke's was purple to show his hatred. Itachi's was orange, probably to show his regret at his actions. Naruto's was blue to show his desire to protect his precious people, while Summer's was pink because it was Summer's Susanoo. This made Naruto ponder the capability of changing the color of the Susanoo. In his mind it would be totally awesome to have an orange Susanoo. Aside from training and seeing the world of Remnant, Naruto had been busy establishing contacts and building up not only his own reputation but also a spy network of reliable contacts just like Jiraiya had. In the elemental nations, he had come to understand the value of knowledge and he felt having a strong spy network would benefit in the coming storm which he felt was approaching the world of Remnant soon. Naruto had also taken the time to get to know the organization known as the White Fang. He found their goals quite admirable and their current method of operation was one that he was not against. However, having had experience in the shinobi world, Naruto did not take chances and created a strengthened blood clone that would infiltrate the White Fang under the alias of Menma. He had Matatabi stay with the blood clone so that it could operate indefinitely and to also create believable faunus features such as cat ears. The strengthened clone would act as his contact with the White Fang. The organization was looking more and more similar to the Akatsuki every time he interacted with it that he feared it would go down the Same dark path of peace through fear. Spending time in each of the 4 kingdoms made Naruto draw similarities between them and the hidden villages back in his original world. Vale was like Konoha, surrounded by lush forests. Vacuo reminded him a lot of Suna with the hot desert-like climate. Mistral reminded him of Kiri and a little of Iwa. And although he had yet to spend the same amount of time here in Atlas as the other kingdoms, it was shaping up to be very similar to Kumo with its strong military and air fleet. Naruto and Summer were building up a strong rapport as huntsmen, having never failed a mission before and completing all their missions with deadly efficiency with little casualties except for Grimm. They had also bumped into Taeyang a few times while he was on his world travels, most often working with him for a short while before Taeyang would move on seeking greater thrill and to help more people along the way. Naruto was snapped out of his thoughts when he felt a familiar soft hand on his cheek. "Naruto, what's the matter?" Summer said as she ran her hand on his cheek, tracing his whisker marks. "Nothing, I was just thinking about the time we've spent together and how long it's been since we've been back in Vale," Naruto said while taking in the appearance of his now 26-year-old lover. Summer had become a beautiful young woman now, filling out well. Her breasts had developed from the modest B cup when she graduated Beacon to now large and full C cups borderlining on D cups. She had gotten even more shapely and toned with all the training they had been doing, and the love the two shared had never once died down. "Yeah, it's been 4 years since we last were in Vale," Summer said as Naruto helped her up, dusting off her cloak as she stood up. Their appearance remained largely the same since their graduation from Beacon Academy, with the only change being the black cloaks with red clouds that they would sometimes wear when doing missions. "Well then, I guess we should get going. It's almost late and we should find our apartment for the next 2 years before it gets too dark," Naruto said as he offered an arm which Summer gladly accepted. Wrapping it in her bosom and leaning her head against his shoulder, the two walked in comfortable silence towards the place that they would call home for the next 2 years, enjoying each other's company. Time skip, 2 years. Their 2 years spent in Atlas had come to an end. Naruto had got to know some of the people in this kingdom, including adding a few more contacts to his roster in the spy network. He had met one of the up-and-coming people in Atlas, a young man by the name of James Ironwood. He seemed like a good man but at the same time was oddly reminiscent of Danzo, except without the war hawk's insanity, but still sharing his beliefs in the importance of being a strong dominant military power. And acting first, asking questions later, Naruto foresaw problems with this man and an up-and-coming huntsman by the name of Ojban, who Naruto felt would most likely become the next headmaster of Beacon Academy. Naruto chuckled to himself as the two seemed to remind him a little bit of the competition between Old Man Third and Danzo back when they were friends and rivals. Today was the day they were due to leave for Vale and settle down for a while. Naruto, feeling that he had seen enough of the other kingdoms and his spy network was established enough such that it would be a good idea to create a base of operations. He also wanted to finally tie the knot with Summer and wanted to start a family. While Summer was busy getting some trinkets to bring back home to Vale with them, Naruto was packing up the apartment, storing their personal belongings in storage scrolls before sending it off into his Kamui dimension. "Today's the day, it's now or never, I guess," Naruto thought to himself as he sat down on the couch while waiting for Summer to return. In his right hand was a small box that he wanted to propose to Summer with. He heard the doorbell ring and quickly got up to greet Summer. "Hey Summer, I have something important I need to ask you," Naruto said nervously. "Yeah sure Naruto, what's up?" Summer responded. Immediately Naruto went down on one knee in front of her and presented her the ring, earning a shocked gasp from her. "Summer, I have known you for 12 years now. We have spent these last 8 years journeying together and my love for has grown by leaps and bounds. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. You alone have my heart like no one else will, so will you Summer Rose do me the honor of marrying me and becoming my wife, staying by my side forever?" Naruto asked. There was silence as Summer seemed to take a while to register the words. Yes, I will Naruto," Summer said in utter happiness as Naruto slid the ring onto her finger. She immediately tackled Naruto to the ground, hugging the life out of him as the two of them shared a passionate kiss, both feeling completely content. The world melting away as the only thing they had eyes for was each other. The two of them held their wedding as soon as was possible upon their return to Vale. They had a conservative function with only their closest friends in attendance. Safe to say Naruto was completely shocked upon seeing Summer in a wedding dress. With the bijou inside him laughing at their host and how he could deal with threats to the world and face down the likes of Madara Uchiha without fear but turned into an utter mess upon seeing his soon-to-be wife in her wedding dress. The wedding went on without a hitch and they got to catch up with many of their old friends in Vale. Taeyang even came back to Vale just for their wedding. Team Blur taking the opportunity to exchange stories, Taeyang, Naruto, and Summer sharing with Crow about some of their adventures in the other kingdoms while Crow told them about his time as a huntsman as well as being a teacher at Signal Academy. As the celebration to the wedding died down, Naruto swept Summer of her feet and used the Hiraishin to take them back to the house in Patch which he had commissioned some time back with the help of Crow to be their new home for them and their eventual children. He created a clone to open the door for them and set Summer down on their bed. Summer kissed him softly on the lips before she went off to the bathroom. Naruto took off his uncomfortable suit, leaving him in only a white undershirt and his black pants. Lemon start. Naruto's jaw almost dropped when he saw his new wife step out in some sexy lingerie that accentuated all her curves. She sauntered over to him, purposefully exaggerating the sway in her hips to get him excited. Naruto felt his pants becoming uncomfortably tight and the room heat up. Summer sat in his lap and proceeded to crash her lips against his. Naruto wrapped his arms around Summer's waist while she ran hers through his silky blonde hair. They continued to kiss as Naruto ran his hands along her sides. Naruto brushed his tongue against Summer's lower lip asking for entrance. Summer was more than happy to oblige as she proceeded to use her own tongue to get a taste of Naruto as well, their fleshy appendages fighting for dominance before Summer finally relented and let Naruto take the lead. Naruto was now actually thanking Kami for all the times he had listened to Jiraiya talk about pleasing a woman now since he could actually put it to use making his wife happy. He lifted her up by her waist and laid her gently down on the bed as he used his elbows to support himself before he went back to kissing his wife again, complete with tongue. His hands were not idle as Naruto was busy making out with his new wife. He trailed his hands up and down her body, feeling each of her curves, taking note of how she responded to his touch. He finally broke off from the kiss and stared lovingly at her before he proceeded to nip at the sensitive skin around her neck, causing Summer to let out a moan. Naruto's hands cupped her breasts through the lace material of her bra, causing her to shudder a little and gasp as she felt sensations she never imagined before. Naruto snaked one of his hands behind her back and unclipped her bra before tossing it to the side, taking a moment to drink in his wife's beautiful figure. His hands got to work massage her breasts, toying with the sensitive skin before he lightly pinched Summer's nipples, flicking and playing with them using his index finger and thumb causing Summer to moan in delight. He got a sudden idea and moved his head down to capture her right nipple in his mouth, sucking on it lightly before using his tongue to play with it. This earned a gasp of pleasure from Summer who arched her back in an attempt to pull him closer. He pinched the other nipple to balance the pleasure she was feeling before swapping sides and doing the same time, Summer's moan echoing in the room as she felt the heat building in her nether regions. Naruto let his right hand trail south toward Summer's lower lips, brushing against them through the fabric of her now semi-wet panties. Summer let out an audible gasp as she felt him touch her in that place even if it was through her panties. Naruto smirked a little at his wife's reactions as he continued to tease her lower lips through the fabric, lightly rubbing her flower before playing with her clit. He raised his head to capture her lips once more, silencing a moan as his hand dipped into her panties, playing with her flower directly as Summer bucked her hips in an attempt to increase her pleasure. Naruto slipped a finger inside of her, parting her walls for the first time as he could feel her moaning in delight through the kiss. He moved his finger in and out of her at an agonizingly slow pace before picking up speed, causing Summer's moans to become louder and more heated as she felt the heat in her core building. Naruto slid a second finger into her, causing her to moan even louder as she was nearing her climax. Naruto felt her walls tightening around his fingers as she finally reached her peak. Grinding her hips against his hand in order to try and make her orgasmic high last as long as possible, she went slack on the bed for the moment as she felt the wave of pleasure hit her body. Naruto removed his fingers from inside of her, bringing them up to his face before licking her juices clean from his fingers, taking the time to enjoy her taste fully. Summer recovered from her orgasm and decided that it was time for Naruto to feel good. She flipped their positions such that he was now the one below. She smiled sweetly at him before cupping the bulge in his pants with her slender hand. She moved down to the zipper of his pants and took them off, leaving him in only his orange boxers before those were also quickly tossed to the side, exposing his member which stood at full mast and was rock hard. Summer was a little scared of his length and girth, wondering how such a thing could fit inside of her. She shook of her shock before encircling it with her slender hands, pumping the shaft a few times before one of her hands went to massage his balls, earning a low groan of approval. She gave a few tentative licks to the shaft, going from the base to the tip, causing Naruto to shudder. She then engulfed the tip of his member in her mouth, causing him to let out a groan in pleasure. She proceeded to take his entire length in her throat, bobbing her head up and down, driving Naruto over the edge as he felt pressure build in his balls. He grabbed the sides of her head, keeping her in place as he proceeded to climax, shooting rope after rope of semen into her mouth. He let go of her head and Summer released his member from her mouth, swirling his essence in her mouth before she swallowed all of it, finding the taste to her liking. Naruto flipped her onto the bed, reversing their positions once more as he settled himself above her, keeping her legs spread using his own as he pressed his member at her awaiting entrance. Naruto looked at Summer for confirmation, getting a look of pure love and lust as she nodded for him to continue. Naruto entered her in one swift movement, breaking through her virgin barrier, causing her to whimper in pain. Naruto had to resist the urge to just plow into her as he felt her velvety walls cling tightly to his member. Summer on the other hand felt as though she was going to be split in half as she felt her walls being parted to accommodate her husband's first access. Naruto waited for her to get adjusted to having his length inside of her, kissing away the tears in the corner of her eyes and giving her long passionate kisses to try and take her mind off the pain as it passed. After some time Summer nodded at him to continue. Naruto pulled out his member until only the tip was left inside before sheathing himself fully inside his wife once more. He continued to pump in and out of her slowly to allow Summer to get used to the sensation, and the pain was quickly replaced by pleasure as Summer let out loud moans of approval while Naruto grunted as he felt his wife's insides try and milk him for all his semen. Summer demanded Naruto to go faster and he obliged, using her hips as a hold to allow him to increase his pace as he sawed in and out of his wife, causing the pleasure they both felt increase. Naruto shifted his hands to her breasts as they bounced hypnotically from the pounding, tweaking her nipples so as to get her to feel more pleasure before he moved to capture one of them in his mouth, continuing to pound deep into her, occasionally teasing the entrance to her womb. Eventually he felt himself getting close to his release once more. "Summer, I'm close," Naruto grunted out as he continued to thrust in and out of his wife. "I'm close too, Naruto, let us finish together," Summer said as she placed a hand on his cheek. She brought his head to hers for a searing kiss as Naruto felt himself reaching his end. Naruto thrust into her one last time as he spread the entrance to her womb, spraying rope after rope of cum into her awaiting canal, painting her insides white. The feeling of having her insides filled by the man she loved sent Summer over the edge as she reached her own climax, her walls tightening around Naruto's member. Trying to milk it for every last bit of semen, Naruto pulled out of her and held her close as his legs pulled the covers over their nude bodies. "Lemon over. You were amazing, my love," Naruto said as he looked lovingly at his new wife. "And you were too, dear," Summer said as she nuzzled into his chest, enjoying his familiar warmth. Naruto could not think of any other time in his life when he ever felt this happy or this content. He had a whole life ahead of him together with his new wife Summer Uzumaki, and he looked forward to the day when he would eventually be able to hold on to their children. Happiness overwhelming the two of them as they finally fell asleep from the events of the day.